Microsoft has been in an incredibly rough spot with a lot of things that have been happening on their end, and I want to make sure that I say this up front. Everything I'm going to be talking about in this video is currently a rumor. And why would I be talking about rumors? Well, the reason why is because Xbox as a team, their leadership, have always, time and time again, reminded us that we should never trust anything that they say. I remember the time when Matt Booty was talking about how successful Hi-Fi Rush was, and yet they still went ahead and closed Tango Gameworks, or tried to, before Krafton tried to basically recover the team, revive the brand, and they tried to get as many people back. Even if there was some sort of turmoil within the studio from a creative perspective, it still doesn't change the fact that they released basically the best game that studio had ever done. Such a high quality game, well loved by fans, by critics, and played by so many people when it released on Game Pass. And yet, the studio still was met with the axe. When we look at something like Austin Studios, Arcane Austin I should say, Redfall was basically painting the wall red for them in particular, and there are other lies that the Xbox team have told. Stuff like, specifically more recently, Sarah Bond saying, hey, you know, the Xbox Game Pass has become so... like it's so financially beneficial, like it's sustainable, it's gonna work. And yet, for some reason, Microsoft thought that it was a good idea to effectively increase the price of Game Pass from 20 USD, Game Pass Ultimate specifically, from 20 USD to 30 USD, and then they tried to come back and say, if you cancelled and you tried to join again, then you would get charged the $30. Not that if you remained, that you would be at 20 the whole time. But who knows, again, what is to be believed? Is Xbox Game Pass actually successful? Because if it is successful, then why increase the price? Because now you're just increasing prices for devices that just aren't really even worth it, including the Xbox consoles as well, which are definitely not worth the price that they're being sold for. So much so that stores like Costco are trying to sell off all of their Xboxes and are not restocking them. What does this mean? Like, from a consumer perspective, normally you should not care about the business aspects around it. It's just how you as a customer are walking down the aisle of different stores like Costco, for example. When something looks off, you'll notice that. You'll feel like there's just something weird in the air when it comes to certain products. And because of that, you're less likely to buy products of that particular brand. And that's very much where Xbox has been for a decent amount of time, but now more than ever has been far more under the limelight for all of these bad decisions. Is it possible that, you know, Xbox is now paying the price for putting Call of Duty on Game Pass? Now that could very well be the case. So let's talk rumors about how Microsoft may not be making another Xbox again moving forward. And even though Microsoft has already addressed these particular rumors, again, I ask you, like, how much can Microsoft actually be trusted anymore, given a lot of what they've said in the past and how they've kind of flip-flopped a lot on a lot of things? Because it seems like they say one thing and then do something completely different. Like I said, the increase in Game Pass prices, Game Pass Ultimate prices, don't make sense if Game Pass is successful and bringing in money that they're happy about. It doesn't make sense that Tango Gameworks made a really good game and yet a year and a bit later they got shut down. Technically. You know, like, actions speak louder than words is what I'm thinking here, so let's talk about it. Microsoft has addressed the rumor suggesting that the future of Xbox's hardware is up in the air, quote unquote. In a statement provided to Windows Central, Microsoft says it's actively investing in the future Xbox systems. So this is where the quotes come from. We are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox, the company said. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. it's interesting how they talk about AMD, because AMD don't need to necessarily make Xbox consoles, because keep in mind that Xbox is partnering with Asus to create the Xbox ROG Ally X and the Xbox ROG Ally as well. So it doesn't need to necessarily be that. I don't know if those devices have AMD processors in them, but they very well could. So they could be licensing out, like Microsoft could license out the Xbox brand or the Xbox name to other companies to then build devices that can play Xbox games. But the problem is that you would have to play them through some sort of like really backwards method like cloud streaming, which is why you would then need Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. You know, like it just all kind of really furloughs its way around. Rumors of Microsoft's future Xbox hardware being seen in question surfaced from an insider on NeoGAF, Sneaker SO, who made a post on the forum suggesting as such. In their post, Sneaker SO said that really concrete plans for actual Microsoft Xbox hardware went from being definitive to up in the air, which was really startling given that this is not that this thing was meant to be out relatively soon. And I think it was supposed to be like Q1 of 2026 of the Microsoft fiscal year, so which I think if I'm remembering this right is April, May, or June potentially. The post was also suggested that the future of Xbox is in software, with games like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Candy Crush, and Forza Horizon being the main focus. It was mentioned at the same time that information posted needed to be taken with a grain of salt, and absolutely, like I said, everything we are talking about right now are rumors. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but at the same time, even though this is a rumor, it still feels believable enough to actually be a thing that can happen. And at the same time, even if Microsoft deny it, there's going to be some semblance of, but are they sure they're not going to like turn back and do something that is the exact opposite of what they said that they were going to do, you know? And so, yeah, while it was supposed to be taken with a grain of salt, it appears that the noise became loud enough for Microsoft to issue a statement to dispel the rumors, at least the hardware part, quote unquote. Sneakers also suggested that Microsoft will hold more layoffs in Q1 2026, and more retailers are set to pull Microsoft Xbox consoles from shelves. The company didn't address either of these claims, but Insider Gaming did reach out for comment on these rumors. And that is a fascinating, keeping in mind I am reading this from Insider Gaming, written by Mike Straw here. This is very, very interesting stuff. And I think the first thing that I probably want to ask is, fans of Xbox, this is a question specifically aimed at you. Are the choices and decisions that Xbox are making, is that something that you are for or something that you are against? What is your philosophy for Xbox as an Xbox fan? I am genuinely curious, because the question that I will always have at the back of my mind will be, do you want this? As someone who plays on the Xbox console, that plays on the Xbox ecosystem, is this something that you want? Because I can't possibly imagine that being the case. The second thing that I definitely want to put out there or want to get thoughts on is, even though these are rumors, do you think that this is like a believable rumor? Could you see Xbox actually doing what we are talking about right now? Because I can definitely see a rumor such as like, oh, Xbox is going to make cars now, for example. That's an absolutely unbelievable rumor. But that's also not to say, but this is significantly more believable by comparison, sure. But like, it's so believable that I could totally see Microsoft doing that. That they just completely shut down the hardware section of Xbox and just focus purely on software. Because they're moving away, obviously they moved away from disc media a long time ago. And now if they just completely move away from the hardware segment and just do everything through cloud, through the Azure backbone that they've got at Microsoft, like that could be huge. Who knows? But I could absolutely see that being the case. I don't know, even though it is just a rumor and nothing has officially been confirmed, it really does feel like this is like the kind of path that Microsoft would want to go down. It's as people say, Microsoft is a software company, not a hardware company. But with all that being said, though, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this, what your thoughts are, your feelings, just sort of everything in general. Because I know there's going to be a few Xbox fanboys probably in the comments, you know, saying, oh, you're a PlayStation fan. Hell, I didn't even talk about PlayStation, but I've got plenty of complaints about them at the moment. And the problem is, I was kind of wanting Xbox to be competitive enough for me to not then complain about PlayStation, but I don't know. I really, really hope that they don't go down the path of Sega, but as time goes on, that just seems more and more believable. Or maybe we've just tricked ourselves into thinking that way. I don't know. But I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.